Hey everybody, it's Dr. Karen, and today I wanted to share a little bit about a free guide I just put together for parents and educators about what executive functioning is. And this is super important, especially if you have kids with disabilities that you're working with. Whether you are a parent yourself or whether you are an educator, it's really important for there to be a partnership so that we can understand how to help kids be more independent with anything that we're working on with them, whether it be in therapy, in school. And this is where I see parents really being able to take what is being taught in school and in therapy and really being able to help their kids be way more independent with all the things that they're doing, whether it be specific academic tasks or whether it be just basic day-to-day problem solving skills. So, first, let's talk a little bit about what executive functioning is, because if you're working with parents, that might not necessarily be a term that they would use or that they would know what it is. So, it's really important that we define that first. And that's actually why I created this guide to help define what it actually is so that you can determine number one, if your child might be struggling with some of these skills, and then also what these skills are so that you can figure out, okay, how do I pick out the specific things that my kid needs to work on? Because a lot of people think that executive functioning is just about being more organized, but there are actually 8 key executive functioning skills. So obviously, just to give a broad definition, executive functioning skills are what enable us to engage in that productive, goal-directed behavior. So the skills that help us look at, okay, I need to get from point A to point B in a certain amount of time, and then to be able to actually figure out how to do that. So figure out what the steps are, figure out what the first step is, and complete those steps. And then during that process, be able to deal with any bumps in the road throughout that whole time and self-monitor, make sure that you're focused, staying on task, being able to adjust your plan along the way, and then also to be able to evaluate your own behavior to see if you're actually being successful, and then be able to evaluate the entire product of whatever it is that you're working on at the end. So, um, let me just talk. I'll talk a little bit about what those 8 executive functioning skills are. And then I want to talk a little bit about some red flags to determine if a child has some issues with executive functioning skills, and then also what it looks like to have good executive functioning skills. And then also there should be a link in the description of this video that will give you the link to my free guide where I dive into defining these 8 executive functioning skills specifically. So if you want more information about that, you're going to want to click on that link and get that free guide. So to get into the specific executive functioning skills that we need in order to successfully engage in that goal-directed behavior, we want to have 8 skills. So there is attending, working memory, strategic planning and organization, initiation, inhibition, fluency, shifting, and then self-monitoring and regulation. So yes, it is about being organized, but it's also very specific, and there are certain behaviors, and understanding these specific skills that fall under this broad category of executive functioning, that is how you can actually work on it. Because a lot of times people think, oh, executive functioning is an issue, so let's work on sequencing, or let's, give someone some positive reinforcement or give them an organizer. But if you don't really exactly understand what skills you're working on when you do any of those strategies, chances are it's not going to be very effective. So it's really important that you do understand what those 8 skills are. And again, I go into more detail on red flags and what those, and further define what those skills are. But before I wrap this video up, let me talk a little bit about what does it look like when somebody doesn't have strong executive functioning skills. So this would be the kids who need directions repeated multiple times before they get things done, or kids that require a lot of reminders and hand holding. They might tend to run late or not seem to have a strong sense of time, and it might take them longer than normal to complete tasks as a result. And they might also struggle to work through just little disruptions in their daily routines. So if something happens that they weren't expecting, they might have a hard time to figure out how to problem solve and figure out another way to get through whatever it is that they're dealing with. And then also there's the emotional impact as well, just the self-regulation piece to be able to stay calm while you're working through that. And again, easily thrown off when unexpected things happen. Might mean that they also turn in assignments late. They might have a hard time keeping track of their stuff and lose things and leave things laying around. They might tend to avoid tasks that have multiple steps or that are challenging. So this could be specific schoolwork. So writing a paper, completing a reading comprehension assignment, completing math problems, or it could be day-to-day tasks like cleaning your room, getting ready for school, managing all of your things, and at the end of the day, figuring out, do I have all of my homework assignments done? So those types of things that you would expect someone to be able to do to show that they're eventually going to be able to be a functioning adult one day. So obviously, if you're a parent, you probably want your children to do some of those things to help out around the house, but also you want to have the peace of mind that you know that they're going to be independent. Some other things that come up is just, making silly mistakes when you know that they might know how to do something correctly. It might appear that they're not putting forth a good effort. That's not always the case, but it might seem like that way. Or they might be easily distracted or refuse work that they know is going to be hard for them. And they might just have a low tolerance for activities that require sustained effort. So, on the other hand, obviously the opposite of all those things would be somebody who has strong developed executive functioning skills. So, that would be someone who is paying attention to the important details. So, not just being detail oriented, but knows which details are important and which ones they don't have to pay attention to. So, for example, this could be, if you're reading something, if you're using executive functioning skills while you're reading a passage, not everything is equally important. Not all the details are necessary to remember. So they know how to get the gist and know the important pieces of information, not just in reading, in life, but that's just one specific example. They're also able to do work without a ton of reminders, and then they appear to be putting forth a good effort that is commensurate with their ability and the things that they know. They show a sense of responsibility and reliability. They know how to deal with things that might be unexpected, so they're not totally thrown off if their routine is disrupted, and they can kind of roll with it and figure out how to figure out a different way of doing things if they've got to change their plans. And then they also know how to plan ahead so that, and again, this does go with being prepared for those things, they can kind of think ahead and figure out how long is this task going to take me? How much time should I leave myself? Do I need to think of some alternative ways of doing something just in case the way that I want to do it doesn't work or something unexpected comes up? So, knowing how to come up with a plan B or a plan C, they can monitor and evaluate their behavior to figure out, am I getting closer to my end goal? Am I doing a good job with this? And is the quality of my work where I want it to be? Is this effective? They know how to break tasks down into steps. They know where to start, so they're less likely to procrastinate or delay work because they know what to do. A lot of times when kids when they refuse to do work, it's more because they don't know where to start and they're overwhelmed. So kids who have strong executive functioning skills are less likely to do that. They can also accurately estimate how long things are going to take, and just overall, they appear to be organized, efficient, focused, reliable, and as a result, they are successful in a lot of the things that they participate in, school, sports, or any other activities. And again, they're more likely to be reaching their full potential. So I want to make a distinction here. If someone does not have strong executive functioning skills, it does not mean that they're not intelligent. There actually isn't that strong of a correlation between the two things. It's very possible that there are a lot of people, and actually I know this for a fact, there are a lot of people who are highly intelligent but don't have strong executive functioning skills. And so as a result, they're underachieving. It's just that the people with stronger executive functioning skills are actually reaching their full potential, while the ones who haven't developed those skills yet are not. But again, that doesn't mean that they don't have potential and they're not capable. It's simply a matter of building those executive functioning skills so that they can reach that full potential. And the good thing is that we know that you can train these specific skills. You can train these executive functioning skills. And really the first step in doing that is understanding those 8 executive functions. So that's why I've created a free guide for parents. Again, it's designed specifically for parents. So if you are a practitioner, if you're a teacher, a therapist, and you're working with parents, this is going to be a great resource for them, because executive functioning skills, it's not necessarily a term that's that common. So educating them about this and teaching them the specific skills is going to help them be better able to support their kids at home. And then I think this guide also may be useful for educators as well. So feel free to download it, share it with parents that you're working with, share that page with them so that they can learn what those executive functioning skills are, so they can use it to start empowering their kids to be more organized, motivated, and self-sufficient. Thanks so much, and check out that guide in the link in the description.